When did reprints or facsimiles become desirable? Is the question. What's up, guys? This is Tarkus Jude Mossberg here from Facebook. Jude's Junk Facebook comic book shop YouTube channel. Tarkus Jude Mossberg is my Facebook profile. There's my lovely wife coming back for her walk. Hey, honey. Website Jude's Junk, and getting on all the socials now. So, when did reprints and facsimiles become desirable? I had the same question, man. I've been collecting since the 80s. Reprints were always, stupid, not worth anything back in the 80s and 90s. Even like the Marvel Tales that reprinted early ASM stories or other Spider-Man books. They were just fun to read, but they weren't worth anything because they were reprints. So I got back in 2021, and sometimes the second and third reprints are worth more than the first reprint now. And then facsimiles came along. So let's just start with reprints. From what I've found and now even collect, basically it comes down to supply and demand. If a book is considered rarer, people like it. Bottom line, I want something unique. I want something that nobody else has. I want the original art. I'll pay $25,000 for the original art. Nobody else has it. I'll get a signature with a sketch, and it'll be a unique sketch from that artist, and that will command a $500-600 premium on a $2 book. I just got a signature and a sketch from Todd McFarlane. He never does sketches, but I got a sketch from him on a Spawn #1 9.8 newsstand, of all things. And he doesn't do sketches, so it increased the value tremendously. It was already a $1,300 book just because it's a 9.8 newsstand, but then you sign it. I'm sorry, I think the 9.8 newsstand signed is about $1,300. And then the sketch, it's such a unique thing, and it's hard to get past sales that it's just like original art. It can charge whatever anybody wants to charge. So people are looking for things that are unique. They want to say, look at the book I have, nobody else has it. I have, that's why we're collecting Action Comics 1 or the first Superman or an AF-15, although there's a lot of AF-15s. So they want something unique. They want something different. Everybody wants something different. Keep that in mind. That is the key thing. It used to be that I want the some collectors, not all collectors. Some collectors are cool with just the keys. Some collectors are cool with just reading the stories. But some collectors want a painting that nobody else has. They want something really rare, a rare signed Mickey Mantle card or something like that. So scarcity. That doesn't mean it's valuable unless people want that scarce book, because I have a lot of 9.8 books where they're the only one on the census, and I bought it basically because it was the only one in the census, and I probably got it for a really cheap price on an auction, but the reality is it's the only 9.8 on the census. So you either send in a bunch of raws, paying $50 a pop, trying to get a 9.8, or you just get one from me at whatever price I put it up for. But it's probably a non-key, and that's why there's only one. And a lot of people will say, well, that's just because nobody wanted to send theirs in. Maybe. That may very well be the fee. And so it's a matter of, okay, do I price this at 100? Would you rather try to send in 2 raw books and hope to get the 9.8? You might be happy with a 9.4 or a 9.6. Maybe you don't even care about grading. So again, 9.8s already cater to the crowd of, I want something different, I want something unique that nobody else has. That's our little ski resort back there. So a 9.8 graded is going to be rarer than just like a near mint graded book. Reprints. So once censuses started being calculated, it turned out that there was fewer reprints in good condition. A lot of the reprints in the 80s and 90s were bought to be read. They weren't considered they were worth anything. They were just bought because someone wanted to read them. So they probably, a lot of those Marvel Tales aren't in good shape. That's why that Marvel Tales 106, the ASM 129, it's so hard to get that in a 9.8. I I think there's like 12, 15 in the world in a 9.8. I have a 9.8 signed actually by Roy Thomas and the guy that just died, Conway, Jerry Conway. So very rare book because those reprints were made to be read, not really to taken care of. They weren't kept in good shape for investment purposes. Just like a lot of the kids' books, the Star books in the 80s. They were meant to be read and kids gave them and then trashed them. So getting a 9.8 Star book is rare. So you get into the reprints, and I'm thinking Hulk 377. That third print is so rare. One, because the print quantities are probably small. Two, probably because they're not in good condition. So it's rarity. It's desirability and rarity. And it's some keys, not all books. It's keys, you know. Some people don't like it, so it's a smaller market. Just like signature series, so there might be a smaller market for 9.8s than raws. There might be a smaller market for signature series 9.8s than just 9.8 blue labels. There might be a smaller market for remarks and sketches than just signatures on a yellow label. So as you get more real specialized, it's a rarer, smaller market. So it's not like a large group of people. I think the Hulk 377, the third print, is going to be worth more no matter whether you're buying raw, graded, 9.8 signed sketch. They're all going to be rare. It's become a major key now. People, it's a fascinating cover. It's a different color. It's a rare color. It's an attractive book, and people like it. I am collecting. What did you find out? What did I just read? Those TMNTs, was it 4 and 7? Those second prints are so rare they're worth more than the first prints. That's not the case with TMNT 1. Number 1 is still the man. That's because number 1 had the smallest print count, whereas like think number 4 and number 7 is the reprints have the smaller print count, or the second prints have the smaller print count. So again, it comes down to rarity. You can have a rare book, but nobody in the world wants it. You could have a rare book, but if one person, so it's not like gold where you have 1 million sales and buyers worldwide and it's a commodity, and so this is what gold is worth today. Everybody knows what gold is worth today. There's a spot value, you get online and it's the same pretty much worldwide. It's not like that with comic books. It's basically more like art. I have a painting that I did, and I stuck a banana to a wall with a piece of duct tape, and I put it online for $1 million. And all of you guys laugh at me, you slam my price, you say I'm stupid, and one guy in France pays me $1 million for it. Does that mean it's worth $1 million? Not to the other 999,999, but to one person it was. So does that mean if he tries to sell it, he's going to get $1 million? There has to be one other buyer. So comic books aren't like commodities. I mean, some of the more common ones are where there's thousands of sales. They tend to act like commodities, but you talk about these rarer books, it's more like an art. And if you look at original art, see how those are spiking, going through the roof. Original art is very expensive. It is probably way more expensive than some kind of art piece at a museum on New York City's downtown Manhattan at a gallery. You know, some of these original pieces of artwork from the 60s and 70s on these iconic blue chip books are going to be worth tons of money. And what does worth really mean? It just means they'll probably sell for tons of money because we know there's enough people out there. So it all depends on how fast you want to sell. If you want to sell at an auction and you need a buyer tonight, you may not get a lot. If you can wait, and so what I see as a mistake is in a lot of these auctions, I watch 30 auction houses daily as a broker. And so when I get into these auctions, I tend to ignore the regular 9.8 blue labels. I'm looking for the really unique books. A lot of signature series books, sketches, newsstand. I just got an Avenging Spider-Man #9 newsstand and a 9.8. There's only like a few in the world. I just got a 2012 book, a newsstand 9.8. There's only a handful in the world. Very unique. Is it going to be worth something? I'm going to hold on to it. and keep it if it doesn't sell for what I want it for. So I'll have the only one in the world until someone else says, hey, I want that one from you, and I'll pay, X amount. So rarity. Okay, so I want something unique. I want something rare. I want something that I can show everybody else and say, hey, I got this. I got the only art piece in the world where there's a banana duct taped to a wall, and I paid $1 million for it. Aren't I? What's the word? What do you call it? The people who are extravagant and spend money like it's going out of style, and it's like, wow, you can afford to spend $1 million on a banana on a wall. Or what did that guy in Italy who paid $1 million for that invisible piece of artwork? I mean, that just sounds like some kind of tax fraud scam. But let's talk about facsimiles now. Back in the 80s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, everything was about writing stories. In the 90s, with Image, with Todd, with Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee, and all the comics that sold the most, X-Men 1, Spider-Man 1, then they started Image, and Todd was like, let's get the artists in, we can sell junk stories, and all we need is cool covers, and they'll sell. And Image was created, and since then, covers have been key, even to this day. 17 variants on a no-name new Absolute Batman that doesn't even have any kind of special thing about it. But the problem with Absolute Batman is every single book has a new first appearance of this, a new first appearance of that, Catwoman, Joker, whatnot. So almost every one is being touted as a new key, and it's got 17 to 40 different variants. So covers sell. They're little pieces of art. They're little pieces of art that all of us can buy. We can get, what is it, $6 cover price. We can pay 30, 40, 50 for the more rarer ones, or the store incentives and that kind of stuff. So it's a cool little piece of art, and if it was made available to everybody, it may not be as special as if it was only made available to 400 people, let's say. So covers rule. So you get into facsimiles, you just make facsimiles of the most popular covers. So I can't have an ASM 129 and a 9.8. I can have an ASM 129 facsimile in a 1.8, 9.8. Okay, is it going to be worth much? It depends on what year. Did it come out in the, Marvel Tales 106 is an ASM 129 homage or facsimile, basically. It's the same story, same cover, just red cover. It came out in the 70s, I believe. So it's old, and it's rare, and it's hard to find, and it's a good-looking book, and it's an old Marvel Spider-Man book, so it's still got a lot of value. Facsimiles are basically just reprints of the exact same book, same cover, just maybe with a more recent barcode on there. I'm not a big fan of them, except I do buy them now and then. And, maybe I can get I just got one. It was an ASM 129 new facsimile that's coming out. It's a blue cover. And I went to Lost Boys, and I was like, I kind of want that. And I kind of want it at 9.8. And I didn't see anybody selling it for a 9.8. And I usually get my new moderns in a 9.8 from him. And he goes, nah, facsimiles don't really sell very well. And I said, all right, I'll buy it from someone else then. And he's all, nah, I'll go ahead and sell it. So he put it up for sale, and he might come back to me and say, see, I told you they didn't sell. And it might be a bomb for him. But I wanted the ASM 129 in a blue cover in a 9.8, because I only collect 9.8, so I don't want a raw copy. It makes it liquid for me. I like 9.8s because it makes comic books liquid. They're easy to move. They're easy to say, hey, this is the condition that an expert said, as opposed to when I say it's a condition, everybody wants to argue, and I don't like, arguing with people that most likely don't know what they're talking about. But so, you can look at a 9.8 and say you don't agree with the grade, that's fine, but it's just easier to sell a 9.8 for me than to, have to worry about grade on a book. And I like to keep my books minty, so if I have a 9.6, 9.8 raw, I don't want to sell it at a 9.4 price. And a lot of people don't like that, so I just decided to only collect 9.8s. So facsimiles, and then you can have second facsimiles and third facsimiles and 84 facsimiles and then 95 facsimiles and then, 2024 facsimiles and a 25 facsimile. You take what is the cover price in that? $4. And you put $35 worth of grading into it, and maybe it's worth 50 bucks. Maybe there's enough desire out there that it's 60, 70, 80, 90 bucks, whatever. All right, now you get some of the original artists to sign it. Okay, now it's a $200, $300 signature on it. Todd McFarlane, Stan Lee. Maybe it's more than $200 with some of the more desirable artists, especially if they passed away. So you take a $3 facsimile book, mint condition, 9.8, put a signature, put a sketch on it, and all of a sudden it's a, $200, $300, $400, $500 book. So we're beyond just comic books, we're art. And you know that because original art is blown up in popularity and value and desirability. I'm having more and more conversations with people like, hey, I'm getting into OA, and they're like, you like OA? And I'm like, sorry, not into it, not my bag, not my thing. Go for it. Collect whatever you like. It's just not my thing. Maybe I'll do a video on why certain things are not my thing sometime, but who knows? You get old, you like what you like, so you just collect what you want and you don't have to really worry about it. So facsimiles, for the most part, are not going to be worth a tremendous amount raw. If you get a nice 9.8, then sure, you might have a $50, $60, $70, $90, $100 book. If you want a 9.8 signed, so now you got to go out and buy a 9.8 facsimile, and someone might have bought the 5 that were on eBay, and so now they want to buy a few more to go send to Roy Thomas and Jerry Conway, who are getting ready to sign, and now they're like, I just need that book. I don't care if I have to pay 100, 150, 200. I want Jerry Conway and Roy Thomas to sign the book. So they buy it from me for 200. All the eBay ones got sold for 100. That's why everybody says, what about last sale? I don't care about last sale. All I care about is being the cheapest in the world. If someone did a run on all the books on eBay last week for a signature series event and they all sold out, well then those are the 5 lucky people. I'm not selling it for whatever it sold for last week if I think I can get it for more. And obviously I accept offers for sure. And cash rules the world versus, fees and reported revenue and all that stuff. So everything's negotiable. But a guy that wants to pay $200 for those 2 to get signed, he's not going to worry whether a 9.8 facsimile is 85 or 150. You get it? He's putting $200 into his signatures for a $100 book. He might pay 150. He might pay a 200. He doesn't care. He is already dumping hundreds into it, and it might be a $400, $500, $600 book when he's done. So facsimiles can have their place in certain times, especially for signatures and stuff like that.